Hey guys, Kitty here. So for this video I'm going to be talking about RFD. RFD of course is a very popular dungeon to farm transmog and patterns in. And this video is going to be a little summary on how to farm RFD, what you can expect from RFD, and a summary of the 200 run data collection posts that I will be making. Now if you are unaware, I did a data collection series where I ran all of the dungeons 100 times and recorded all of the notable drops. Notable drops being items that are 1,000 gold or higher in region value. Now for this video and every other video forward or every other post forward for all of the 200 runs, those are all going to be done in market value. A lot of people were complaining about region value, saying that it was inflated, so I decided to go ahead and do market value, and the value is going to be coming from a few of full pop servers that I play on. So if I happen to be doing a RFD run or whatever dungeon on that certain character, which I usually is going to be on a full pop server, all the values are going to be coming from that full pop server. And of course, every server has different prices. Please keep that in mind. Even just because this is a full pop server and those servers' prices tend to be on the lower side compared to region, that doesn't mean that it might be higher or it might be the same or it might be lower. Every server has different prices. So RFD is a great dungeon for transmog farming, especially when you're just starting off. It does offer a wide variety of greens as well as a bunch of RFD exclusive blues and a chance at patterns. Now a lot of the patterns are contained in treasure chests located throughout the map, and some of those chests can be locked, so a lot of people do recommend bringing either a rogue or a character that can open up those locked boxes. Now I personally do not have the luxury of having a rogue on all of my servers I play on, and usually my druids don't have any professions or something along those lines that could open up those locked boxes, so I usually just ignore the ones that are locked and only open up the ones that are unlocked. Now in total, this set of 100 runs took me about just over 7 hours, or about 40 minutes per lockout, so about 4 minutes a dungeon run. I did end up receiving about 12 lock boxes, 12 steel lock boxes, in comparison to the 23 of the previous 100 runs, so about half of that. Now for this 100 runs, I did not end up bringing in an enchanter. I decided to just vendor all of the greens and buy one pick up blues that I decided not to sell. But I did bring an enchanter in the previous 100 runs. I did convert all of the values to market value, including all of the values from the previous 100 runs, and bringing an enchanter did offer about 6,500 gold in enchanting materials, so keep that in mind. If you bring an enchanter, expect around 6,000 in additional gold value. For the other materials, RFD does offer shadow silk as well as large fangs, and of course mage weave cloth and silk cloth. All of the numbers in this 100 runs are pretty much almost identical to the previous set of 100 runs, so you can expect roughly the same numbers. So for Shadow Silk, about 160 total, or 16 per lockout. For Large Fangs, about 115 total, about 12 per lockout. For Mage Weave Cloth, just under 3,000, or just under 300 per lockout. And for Silk Cloth, just under 2,500, or about 250 per lockout. And of course, you can see all the values. Those values are all, like I said, market value on a full pop server, just whichever server I happen to be farming on. So expect those values to be different, but only different I would say in the large fangs and maybe the shadow silk. For the cloth, the value should be pretty similar. Now for the currency and the vendored stuff, like I said, I did decide to vendor all of the greens I decided not to sell, as well as all of the buy non pick up blues, and in total it was just under 5,750 gold, or about 575 gold per lockout. Now in comparison, the previous 100 runs gave me about 3,200 gold total, or about 320 per lockout. So it was an increase of about 2.5k total. Like I said, that is because I vendored all of the greens. But in comparison, it is still much more profitable to bring an enchanter to disenchant all of that stuff, because even with the additional 2,500, it'll still offer an additional 4,000 gold. If you were to sell all of the enchanting materials. And of course, you could always use those enchanting materials for even more profit. Now for the notable drops, like I said, all of my notable drops are items valued at 1,000 gold or higher, and this time it is market value on the current server I'm playing on. And I'm only going to go ahead and talk about the top 5 most expensive items I ended up receiving, because I don't want to sit there and go through all of them. But if you do want a more detailed list, of course always check down below, and it'll link right to the Reddit post where you can see more detailed lists of this 100 runs, and of course the previous 100 runs, and you can always compare. So the most expensive item I ended up receiving this 100 runs was 4 saltstone circuits with a combined total of 235,000 gold. I did receive saltstone circuits in my previous 100 runs. I believe it was only 2. And the 235,000 gold I would say is a little bit higher on the value end. I believe region value is around 40k, and my market value was about 55-ish k. So it is a little bit higher, but like I said, all of the prices are going to be different. And most of my value, especially from Transmog, about half of my value came from those 4 saltstone surcoats. Now the second most expensive item I ended up receiving was 2 saltstone girdles, another saltstone piece, which is a great set. I ended up receiving 2 of those with a combined total of just under 40,000 gold. The third most expensive item I ended up receiving was 4 ebony bone clubs with a combined total of just under 36,000 gold. Ebony bone club, of course, is a RFD exclusive item. It is one of many RFD exclusive items. Some of the other RFD exclusive items you could find are quill shooters, manslayers, freezing shards, bone slashers, corpse shroud, thought cast boots, death head vestment, briar treaders, quillbird harness, and the stormgale fist. Now I did receive some of those this 100 runs, and I received a handful of those in the previous 100 runs. So do expect to see a bunch of those pieces, and some of those are on the lower end, but some of those are on the expensive side. So do keep that in mind. RFD is a pretty heavily farmed dungeon, so a lot of the transmog values do vary dramatically, even in just a week or a month time frame. Now the fourth most expensive item I ended up receiving was 3 Warbringer Sabatons with a combined total of just under 33,000 gold, and the fifth most expensive item was Gloves of the Holy Might, which is a epic drop that can drop from a handful of dungeons, if not all of the classic dungeons, and that was valued at 26,000 gold. Now some of the other transmog pieces you can expect to receive from RFD are Wolf Rider set, Martyr, Imposing, Tyrant, Trickster, Jouster, Con, Warden, Symbolic, Ember Silk, and the list goes on and on. Like I said, there are a wide variety of transmog pieces you can get from RFD, and that's what makes it really, really popular. Now, one thing that's really interesting about RFD is it does have a chance to drop a lot of those patterns, as I mentioned before. A lot of those patterns are contained in those treasure chests that might or might not be locked. And off the top of my head, some of those patterns are Rich Purple Silk Shirt, Star Belt, Enchant Lesser Parry, Comfortable Leather Hat. Now, a few of those are priced at upwards of 100k, Rich Purple Silk Shirt and Star Belt, I would say, being the 2 most expensive. Now for the summary. In total, I'm going to break it down into 3 sections: materials, transmog, and materials plus transmog. And the currencies can be included in the materials. For the materials, I ended up receiving a total of just above 11,000, or about 1,100 per lockout. For transmog is about 525k total, or just above 52,000 per lockout, and a combined total of 536,000, or about 53,000 per lockout. Like I said, half of my transmog value did come from the saltstone surcoats, so if I did not receive any saltstone surcoats, expect that value to be cut in half. But I did receive 2 saltstone surcoats in my previous 100 runs, so I wouldn't be surprised to expect at least one of those when you do this. Now to compare that to my previous 100 runs did end up giving me about 316,000 combined total worth of items, so about 220,000 gold cheaper. I did only receive, I believe, 22 items in that session. Compared to this 100 runs, I ended up receiving about 31-ish. So I ended up receiving, a handful more items this session, which is good. That also helped increase the value. And of course, more items equals more markets that you're in. And that means that total 200 runs is a combined total of about 850,000 gold worth of looted item value. And I'll keep adding to that average more 100 runs I do. I am working on 300 runs. I'm about halfway there. So expect to see that coming out soon, as well as many other 200 run posts as well as videos. Now overall, RFD is a great dungeon, especially when you're new to transmog farming. It does offer a wide variety of items, as well as some of the more sought after items, some of the more sought after sets, Saltstone, Tyrant, Warbringer, etc., etc. It does offer a lot of RFD exclusive items. The main thing about transmog, always keep this in mind, it is a long-term investment. Getting the item is the first part, selling it is the second. Usually the way I think of it is I get the item, I toss it on the auction house, and I don't think about it again until I see the gold in my mailbox. If you want to catch me live, you could always do so down below, twitch.tv/Kittymowwmow. All of these dungeons runs, as well as all of the data collections and everything, is always farmed on stream. I always do all my farming while I stream. So if you want to stop by, join an LAC, or just say hello, you're more than welcome to. I will be putting out more of these 200 runs series, and of course if you always want to check out my previous 100 runs, you could do so on the Reddit. The link will be down below. And like always guys, thanks for watching and have a good one.